Okay, so here we have our forehead handout. This basically describes how you would look for the envelope first, then identify your temporal ridge and your brow ridge. This is gonna, narrow up the area where the forehead will be and just help you with your proportions, going from big to smaller. And then these are the key anatomical points that we're looking at: the frontal eminences and the sinus eminences. Now, when you see these big frontal eminences here, these big submerged ping pong balls, and then you have your sinus wing shapes down here, if you climb the mountain of this submerged ball and plant a flag at the top of the mountain, and you do the same here and the same here on the sinuses, then you can draw a square connecting the dots, connecting the flags, and you'll get this shape right here, this quite small front square of the forehead. So this is very square-like, but if you go out to the wider part here, the outline, you'll see that the eminences are much wider than the sinuses, and then it would go inward like this and give you more of the sort of baseball diamond kind of shape. So what we're going to talk about now is how to connect all of these shapes with a ribbon. So if you imagine that you are like Christo and how he would wrap islands or he would wrap those buildings, we're going to wrap these projections of the forehead and with a ribbon. So here is our ribbon wrapping around the side of all of these forms. Eventually we'll go down and we'll wrap all these other forms, but for now we can just go tuck under the brow ridge here and wrap all the way around. So we now have a projection that is created by all of these eminences. And this projection is not at a right angle. You can think of it as like a drawer that's being pulled out, but this is not a right angle. This is flared here. So it's more like a ramp, and a ramp does not get as dynamic lighting as it does when it's at a strong right angle. Like here, this is a sharper angle, turning more sharply away from the light, so it's darker. But then here, where it's more of a ramp, it's more subtle lighting. So here I have a drawing to illustrate the ribbon. So when you have a ribbon in space and it's lit in a certain way, then this will catch lots of light, and then as it falls away from the light, a little bit less, and then a little bit more light up here, and then over here, where it's sharply away from the light, you see that it's strongly shaded, and then here it's going to turn back underneath and get even more. So you see how with my shading, I communicate the angle of the ribbon to the light, just like I did here. And so we can think that the ribbon that we've made on our forehead is just like that, so that while we follow along this ramp side, front, top, side, underneath, the angle of the ribbon to the light adjusts the lighting. And this is a great way for you to understand a way to connect complex forms into a simple concept, and that can help you to understand some of your lighting decisions and coordinating your shading, rather than only in a cartoon way hitting on an anatomical point like the nose or the eye or the eminence and only rendering it with light and shade in isolation. This helps you to connect lots of forms by making a new form.